And you were live.
Are we live?
You're live.
Are you live?
Are we live?
You're live.
You're live.
Go for
You're
it.
live.
I'm live.
You're
I'm
live.
live.
Let's hear that V intro.
He can't hear us.
Oh man.
B? Hello?
Yeah. Could you hear me?
Yeah, we're live.
Okay. Hi everyone. It's me, V. And we're here again with Bix. It's Hump Day. You know what time it is. You know what day it is. It is the man of the hour, the Sultan of Silver, the Baron of Bitcoin himself, the Gandalf of Gold, who is trying to unite the rings of power that is only brought to you by hard assets, the man who himself wears his heart on his sleeve and spaghetti stains on his tie, the man, the myth, the legend, the inventor of the Horn of Z's, Bix Weir.
Hi, lots and lots to talk about today. Oh, and by the way, most likely the subject we're going to talk about will be demonetized by YouTube because they demonetize it every time I put a video up on this subject. Are you there, V?
V?
Oh,
Yeah,
man.
I'm here.
Yeah.
I'm having network issues.
I wonder why.
I don't know. All right, you guys continue. I'm going to log off and log back on.
All right.
Okay, cool.
CJ, you're more sane than that other gorilla anyway.
So anyway, so you've been demonetized for what subject matter? Go for it.
For Syria. For my take on what the good guys are doing with the whole Syria shenanigans, and this is a huge turning point in the battle between the good guys and bad guys, and the good guys are playing it just masterfully, unbelievably masterfully, and this is, you know, from the attempted false flag in Syria to what Trump is doing and his people are doing, and the unwitting and unknowing media and alt media playing in exactly how they're supposed to, you know, V jumping up and down and screaming that Trump's a bad guy or being coerced by the bad guys is exactly the plan. And I'd say keep it up, guys. Do it because it's working, and all the things that Trump has achieved in this little operation are phenomenal, and it will change the world literally.
Why don't you break that down briefly? Because I did listen to your videos, and I think I emailed you that, hey, listen, I'll go into it and listen to it again. But, you know, because you brought some very interesting perspectives into what you think, you know, could be happening in his messaging. So why don't you share that briefly, Bix, for our listeners, just in case they have not heard.
Sure. My take is it's a reverse false flag being done by the good guys. And what it has achieved so far is unbelievable things for the Trump administration. One, it changed the narrative off, you know, Trump and Russia are colluding. That is out the window. Not even CNN talks about that anymore. Trump bombing an empty airbase was a brilliant move after the false flag that the bad guys tried to lure him into World War III. And now Russia's in on it. China's in on it. And that's the really amazing thing in the long run. In the long run, after this all fades away and the charges are dropped, the investigations dropped with Trump and Russia, and then Russia will still play the bad guy until these charges are dropped. So Putin and Trump and Xi are all in on it, which kind of gets me to this point where in the future, when this all blows over and the rest of the bad guys are taken out, we really do have a chance at kind of a world peace, really, truthfully, coming out of all this as Putin and Trump and President Xi get together. You get those three countries together on the same agenda, on the same path, taking out bad guys, removing the CIA-formed ISIS, and you've got a real chance at some kind of different world emerging from over 100 years of war and debt slavery. So, yes, I'm very excited about what's going on. I can go into details on all the things that Trump has achieved in this process in just the last week, if you're into that.
Yeah, you know, because I think it's very interesting. And you see that yesterday during an interview on Fox Business, he came out and said that we're not going to invade Syria. We're not going to take further escalation in there. But you heard him on the stump so many times through his campaign talking about that that any action taken in Syria, that Congress needs to get approval, that if Obama did that, it'd be a huge mistake. So is the collateral damage worth it in terms of his base?
That's the question is, did Trump invade or start a war or invade or do anything unconstitutional in this maneuver of lobbing 59 Tomahawk missiles on an empty airbase? One, he gave Russia and Syria 2 hours notice to get the hell out. Number two, I believe he got permission from Russia and from Syria to do this, which means it would not be unconstitutional. It'd just be a test of missiles. So that would be in the background, way, way deeper than what you're going to hear on TV. The alt media is doing their job. Their job is to jump up and down and go crazy. V, you're the best at it, about what Trump is doing and why he's doing it, because it takes everybody to buy into this overall plan. It reminds me a lot of the Road to Ruta stuff back in the 60s. They couldn't tell many people about what the overall plan was. And so most of Congress had no idea what was going on. And the media had no idea. Even the banksters had no idea, but they had to do it in secret. I think this is the exact same thing. This internal strife within the Trump administration is, I think, a ploy also. Everybody's playing their part either wittingly, as they know what's going on, or unwittingly, as a lot of the media and the alt media are doing what they would be expected to do. The funniest thing is the mainstream media is completely on the Trump bandwagon now. You watch CNN, it's just classic. And it was so easy to turn them around. And I think everything's working out as planned. Russia and the U.S. will continue to, on the surface, look like, oh boy, things are deteriorating. They're getting worse and worse and worse. And then you're going to see the dropping of the Trump-Putin investigation and the working together at some point down the line. And then China has already come in and told North Korea, if you do anything nuclear, we are going to bomb you, which everybody was like, oh, Trump is trying to teach President Xi a lesson by bombing Syria while he's there in the United States meeting with Trump. No, they're in on it. They're in on the game. China knows exactly what Trump is doing. Trump knows, and Putin knows exactly what Trump is doing. They're all playing their part. And this gets back to, and the way to figure this out and understand it is understanding that the good guys have already won this battle behind the scenes. That's the only reason Trump got into office. It's the only reason the Brexit happened. It's the only reason Le Pen is going to get in France. The good guys have won this battle, and it took not just people within the United States, people around the world to take out these criminals that control us. So yeah, that's kind of where I'm coming out, and everything that's happened since then. It also gets Trump in the position for the whole world's afraid to piss off Trump because they think he has an itchy trigger finger now, and Trump has destabilized the markets, which needs to be done. The markets need to be destroyed for the main reason that all the bad guys have all this money hidden away in Panama and Antigua and the Bahamas, so that any revaluation or continuation of the current monetary system, they still are in charge. They'll still have all the money, and the people will have nothing. So you do have to destroy the monetary system. It's all part of the plan. And yeah, that's my take, and more stuff. Also, the defamation and the destruction of the image of the Obama administration is going on as planned. With Susan Rice and the way that Trump's handling Syria versus what Obama did. And all this stuff is going as planned, and it's going extremely well, I think, for the secret plan for Trump. And yeah, I'm really excited about it. I'm not worried about World War III. I know behind the scenes that the good guys have already won this war. And it's just getting the right people in the right places for the big stuff to happen. And the big stuff meaning the crash of the monetary system. So that's my take.
Bix, let me ask you this, man. I'm back, and I have to do this on my phone, so hopefully I sound good.
You sound sexy.
Thank you, man. I'm working on my phone sex voice, just in case things go down south. things go sideways, I could, have a backup plan as a way to generate additional income. But
You can always sell your body, V.
I could. I'll just have to like shave a lot of this hair off. That's the only thing. And then,
or
I'll
find a hairy
somewhat
woman.
human.
Find a hairy woman, you'd be better off.
I don't like hairy women. That's the only problem.
Okay, so let's hear your take. Let's hear your take, because I know your take is different than my take.
No, well, here's the thing, man. I think, and I was having this conversation with a family member. If I think, I mean, you know what? I'm not discounting it's a false flag. I'm not going to discount that.
Which one?
This whole Syria thing. There's
two false
I'm not
flags.
Discounting. There's two false flags. See,
the first one is obvious.
What was the second false flag? See, I was.
Well, the first one was
the
first one was the chemical weapon false flag.
Okay.
And I agree with you. That was a bad guy plan to suck Trump into their web. I believe that's a false flag. I think the other false flag is what Trump's doing.
Okay. All right. The flip side to that is this. And, I mean, Putin has come out and said that attack is a false flag attack. We're going to show you the evidence. Now, if it comes out as evidence that, hey, this is false flag, and pretty much the whole entire world knows that Bashar al-Assad attacking and gassing his own people is horse crap. It's not real. And then, so Putin rolls out the evidence proving that it's a false flag, and the world knows this. That makes Trump look like an idiot.
No, it
right?
doesn't.
Okay.
It doesn't. What it does, it gives Trump the power to fire everybody in the CIA who said they had proof.
Bingo, exactly. Now, that's the other half of what I was saying this morning. The only way he can come out of this is when it does come out as a false flag and it's official to the whole world, if he fires the guys in the CIA that led to this bad, poor intel, then that's a major win. That is a litmus test. I agree. I'm like, wow, I'll take a step back and be like, that is a genius chess move. Well done, well played.
Well, he can fire him anyway, though. I mean, that's the other thing. Trump doesn't need a reason to fire anybody in the CIA. He could have them fired right now.
Right, but yet nothing's happening. So,
well, I would disagree. I would say, well, the seventh floor of the State Building was taken out, which was the shadow.
Oh yeah, the sixth floor of the State Department. Right?
Yeah.
That was the rat's nest right there.
Yeah, but I think a lot's happening in the background that
I agree with you.
Aren't aware of.
I think there is a lot happening in the background, but the point being is that if the world, like if it's made public to the entire world that this was a false flag, that the U.S. yet again was working on faulty intelligence, and no heads roll, then that's a problem. If nobody gets fired in the CIA because of this debacle, if he doesn't go ahead and start firing McMasters or McNuggets, whatever his name is, and all these guys that gave him and fed him this faulty intelligence, and get rid of Jared Kushner, I don't even know why he's there, and get, purge them all out, get the right people that he's been wanting to get in, his cabinet picks that he's just having a rough time trying to get approved. I get it. I'll be like, that's a great play. And also, what's the latest with the Susan Rice thing? Because I said this many times. Susan Rice was practically handed to him on a silver platter. I mean, she was practically gift wrapped.
They all are.
What's the latest on that?
Well, but remember, this is so much bigger than the people you're talking about and the scenario you're talking about.
Okay.
This is all encompassing. Not only are they going to reveal, the false flag of the latest Syria gas attack, but they're going to reveal 9/11. They're going to reveal all the false flags that have gone on. And on top of that, they're going to reveal what was going on with the Obama administration and the Bush administration and the pedophilia stuff. I mean, if you go down the line, you can't just say, unless Susan Rice is brought to justice in front of the world, that doesn't solve anything,
No, I agree. What I'm saying is that she's the first.
Is that it all comes out. And you can't trickle this stuff out. I mean, this is huge stuff. So if you are going to throw Susan Rice and Obama in jail for treason and conspiracy to commit treason against an incoming president, then you got to bring it all out. And you're going to have to bring the pedophilia. And I do think all this stuff is on the docket, and they will roll out charges against all these people who have literally controlled us and destroyed our lives for all these years. but it is much bigger than Susan Rice. It's bigger than Obama and Trump. It's bigger than anything you can imagine. It's the exposing the battle between the good guys and the bad guys, and exposing what the bad guys have done to us for these past 100 years.
Okay, so let's come to an agreement.
Okay.
If Trump comes out and fires and says, "Hey, you know what, guys? I stepped in the poop. I made a mistake based on faulty intelligence, and based on the faulty intelligence of these individuals, these certain people that are working in the CIA and the intelligence community, I'm going to fire them all. Everybody's getting whacked." Then I agree that, hey, you know what? This is definitely planned by Trump in order to fall on his own sword, and then smoke out these characters that are giving them faulty intel, the guys who are quote unquote establishment.
I love you, V,
nothing stays.
I mean,
yeah.
Why that? I mean, why not just sit back and look at the bigger picture and say, look what Trump has achieved by bombing an empty airfield. He has achieved. He's fooled the world, basically, fooled the alt media. Definitely, he's fooled the mainstream media, who now love him and think he's the greatest thing since sliced bread. He has gained the moral authority of the world now that he has saved the babies from the evils of Assad. The game is, when you stand back and look at it from like 1,000 feet up, it's so obvious what's going on if you understand that behind the scenes, the good guys have already taken out the bad guys. The big battle happened in 2008 when Mark Mukasey took out the Bernie Madoff slush fund that the bad guys were using to fund their operations. That was the big one. Mark Mukasey is the son of Michael Mukasey, who was the attorney general at the time. Michael Mukasey led the charge of the good guys to take out these bad guys in the United States and around the world, really. I mean, if there is a leader and head of this plan to take back the United States, and
he croaked last month, on the
Michael Mukasey
solstice. Did? No, not David Rockefeller, the leader of the bad guys.
Oh, the leader.
One of the leaders.
Yeah, well, I don't know how much involvement he had. I mean, it was such a gigantic web of and I don't think there was a single leader. You could say, operationally, it might have been the Clintons on there. They were mainly about getting money and pedophilia stuff, but it could have been Cheney. It could have been that gang, the Bushes. I mean, there's so many people who assumed that they were the leaders because they each had their own agenda too. So yeah, George Soros. You can go down a list of bad guys, but the good guys had to do this all in private, and it's been going on since. I mean, the Road to Ruta stuff is about the good guys within the Federal Reserve taking down the system. I mean, this has been going on since the 60s. So it's so much bigger than, Trump, firing people at the CIA because, they lied to him, things like that. That's a tiny, tiny, tiny part of the much bigger picture. And the much, much bigger picture right now, I think the biggest picture is that I think Trump and Putin and President Xi have all gotten together secretly and said, we're going to change the world. And after this dust up and changing up some perceptions, we're going to get together and we're going to root out ISIS, which would be easy to do if you have Russia, China, and America working together.
Oh, right.
And then literally change the world and take out these criminals. No more false flags, because there'll be true investigations into these false flags, and they're so obvious when they happen. And then we move forward. And that's kind of everything that was laid out in the cover of the World in 2017 Economist magazine and the tarot cards. You can believe it or you don't have to believe it. You can look at my research on this particular subject and kind of step back and say, what was the difference between Trump before he bombed Syria and after? Did he turn stupid all of a sudden and fall for one of their tricks? Or does he really know what he's doing? And I have no doubt, because the bad guys have been taken out for the most part behind the scenes, I have no doubt that Trump knows exactly what he's doing when he made that move.
Got it. So what do you think is going to transpire in the next couple of weeks?
I think the USA-Russia kind of angst and fighting against each other will get worse and worse. and scarier until the charges are dropped with Trump and Putin colluding. That investigation ends, which it will. And then there'll be a de-escalation at some point. Trump has already said, hey, this is a one-off bombing. Our main goal in Syria is to take out ISIS. And ISIS, as we know, is part of the CIA. It was created by the CIA. It's funded by the CIA. They can take out ISIS at any moment they wish by just cutting off their funds. And that's the interesting thing when we talk about whether there will be a world war between Russia and China and the United States or North Korea or Syria. Remember the Vault 7 releases that the United States has embedded software in computer systems that basically they can spy or they can screw with anything that has a computer component within it, which is every airplane, every power plant in Russia, in China. I mean, we really do. Computers are so powerful now. We can shut off anything we want because we have embedded this software into the Honeywell nuclear power plants and all the machinery and electronics down deep. There's a little switch that the U.S. can flip if they need be. So that's kind of the different layer and level of whether or not the United States is a strong country or a weak country. If we controlled every computer component in the world and have embedded software, we win. I mean, if we choose to win. Now, right now, the game is, keep it going, keep the system going. And there's even a higher level above the Russia, China things. It's kind of control of planet Earth for those people who know about the secret space program is run by the CIA and has been since the 40s and 50s when, what was his name? The head of the Navy, Forrester was his name, I believe.
Yeah.
And his right-hand guy was JFK. So JFK knew all about the secret space program, and you go back into research on that. That's the next layer up, and then you can go beyond that and talk about who really controls the universe and the planets, and it just keeps going up and up. So when we deal on these little tiny levels of Trump bombing an empty airfield in Syria. We got to think of the bigger picture here and don't get all riled up. Well, no, do get all riled up. All alt media, Alex Jones should get riled up, and I love it. And it's playing into the same narrative. If Alex Jones knew what was going on and says, "Oh, don't worry about it," Trump's got this all under control, then it wouldn't work as well. This plan. I'm probably an asshole for exposing this plan to everybody. But not, I don't have that kind of audience that Alex Jones does. Right. But to me, it comes down to honesty and truth and figuring out what is true and what are we being conned by. It gets to the monetary system. When I was exposing the Road to Ruta stuff with Greenspan's computer programs behind the scenes, they didn't want the world to know about that. The guy Stephen Duveau, who programmed the first programs and went to IBM to embed computer software into almost every machine we own now. He didn't want to be exposed. He wasn't, he tried to, kind of sneak away, but I discovered him and I exposed him to certain people. I'm sure he's pissed about that. But I think a life of being hidden agendas and hidden secrets, that's got to end, because look what it's done to our country.
So basically, you're saying Trump doesn't even have to, even if the evidence comes out and says, "Hey, you know what? This is all a false flag," and now Trump looks like a total idiot on the world stage.
Well, why would he look like an idiot? Why would he look like an idiot? He was
because he launched an attack.
Well, he launched an attack on an empty airfield. He was told by the intelligence community of almost every country, right? We were all fooled. Now, I don't think Trump was fooled at all. I know he wasn't fooled at all, but he did see this as an opportunity to change the narrative, to get people on his side. And if it does come out into the open that this was a false flag, Trump will be in the same boat as every single human being on earth, that we were fooled by the bad guys, by these people who are trying to foment false flags on us, and now that's the new enemy. If you want to, our enemy now is terrorism. Our enemy after that is the people who create the false flags.
Got it. All right. So what else is on your radar, man? I mean, this is the.
I had a question, V. I had a question.
Bring it, CJ. Bring it.
I did, because it's kind of funny that we completely flipped. Now, correct me if I'm wrong, Bix, because I think when, like 2 months ago, whenever Mnuchin was appointed, and you were like, no, Trump is, we want the truth, we want the truth, we want this and that, and I want the same thing. I want the truth. I want to start seeing some people be prosecuted, some people being arrested. I want to see audit the Fed get pushed through. I would like to see some significant actions other than taking, this 3-4 chess, whatever. And I pray to God, I hope you're right. I pray to God, I hope you're right.
I hope you're right as well. And I think it's going to come down to what happens, whose heads roll. If I don't see no head rolls, then we're all getting played.
And it might be that my analysis is completely wrong, but everything that's happened since has come right in line with what I thought would happen.
Go ahead, TJ.
No, I was just going to state, well, if you look at, and again, you look at Trump's poll numbers recently came out, he's polling at 47%. So, he was on a downward spiral a little bit, and it bounced back up. So in the terms of the world stage and taking a look, and you're seeing a lot now of news come out recently regarding, China and their effects of what they could significantly help with North Korea. So I pray that I hope everything gets de-escalate. I hope that they come to a conclusion, that they can work together to kick ISIS out. But until because I've given Trump a lot of get out of jail free cards, with some of the appointments, with Kushner, with his alliances, Obamacare Light was a miserable disaster. There's no tax plan. There's nothing significant that has been achieved that's of substance to me and what I perceive as an average American citizen.
But that's good. I mean, we don't want Trump to fix anything until after the crash. The crash has to happen. And when the crash happens, all his achievements on those fronts that you just talked about will be wiped away instantly. And he knows the crash has to happen. The whole world knows the crash has to happen. The bubbles have been blown bigger than they've ever been in the history of the world. But that's exactly the plan. That's what Ruta wrote in the sand in that comic book, is On the Road to the Golden Age, which says print as much money and buy as much things for your infrastructure, for build houses, just completely flood the world, then crash the system, and you can go back onto a gold standard. That is exactly what Ruta wrote in the sand in the comic book, and then it was changed in 2007 to basically she wrote 9/11 in the sand, and that's what changed the world. Is that when 9/11 happened, the guys who were allowing these bad guys to control us, the good guys, as I call them, stood up and said, no more. This is ridiculous. We need to end this. And that's what's been going on since September 11th, 2001.
It's very interesting, to say the least, man, what you're saying. It's, dude, honestly, bro, I'm hopeful. And me and CJ, we're hopeful and optimistic that things will turn around. But at the same time,
it's got to crash before they turn around. And the crash.
I agree with you. It's got to crash, but
But the crash will be all encompassing, meaning every bank will go down. Because
I agree. And my thing is this: it's like it's he's gonna get blamed for the crash if the crash happens.
No, he won't. He can't be. He's been in office 100 days or something. He can't be blamed for the crash.
What if the crash happens in 2 years?
Then he can be blamed.
Gets blamed for the crash. Exactly.
But the plan isn't 2 years. That's why he's not fixing things now.
Okay.
The plan is to crash it in the next few months before September. And on April 28th, we have the budget thing, which probably won't get passed, which means there's no checks written out of the U.S. Treasury, which means 35 million people in the United States don't get paid.
Mm-hmm. So in order for this whole thing to turn around, the whole entire system has to crash within a matter of months.
It can crash in a second. One bank goes down, Deutsche Bank goes down, or JP Morgan or Citibank. And remember 2008, in mid-September of 2008, when Hank Paulson ran into Congress and said, oh my God, we're in trouble.
The sky is falling, right.
You've got a half an hour. You've got a half an hour to give us $700 million or the entire system will end.
Yeah. So
Now it's
give
blown.
us 750 billion, or it's going to be anarchy in the streets.
Yeah, and now it's going to be 20 trillion. And oh, by the way, before Congress can approve any money for the FDIC, they first have to pay out all the derivatives, which is hundreds of trillions. And that was put there in the Dodd-Frank law for a specific reason, to ensure that there is no bailout this time.
Mm-hmm.
I don't think there would be a bailout anyway, because we've been through this game before. But just think how much smarter humanity is now versus 2008. In 2008, nobody knew what was going on. Now we know, we've had movies like The Big Short, and all kinds of information has come out. And if you ask anybody on the street today, walking down the street, and ask them, would you approve a banker bailout? They'd say, hell no. And then they say, will you approve a banker bailout if you get your money back? And they say, well, as long as the bankers don't get their money back. But if the bankers don't get their money back, which is leveraged, 10, 20 to 1, everything is gone. It does need to be that complete wash away of all unbacked currencies, because of all the money they're hiding. These bad guys are hiding money in Panama and Antigua. And the majority of fiat money is hidden away by the 0.001%. These bad guys. Now, the way to get rid of that problem and to destroy them is to end that monetary system. They thrive off the unbacked fiat system. That's where they get their power. They don't get their power through military might, because they have to pay those people. There's nobody loyal to these bad guys. It's all about controlling the money, which is all about controlling the system and governments and the banksters. So if we destroy their means of power, which is fiat money, we have a chance to end this game.
Yeah. The whole thing is this, man. If what you say comes to pass, and I'm very optimistic, man, then we stand a great chance. I'm just waiting and seeing. Believe me, dude, I really want to see this. Maybe I'm doubting Thomas. Maybe I'm OE of little faith. We're doubting Thomas and doubting CJ over here.
But what happened? What happened to you, V? I mean, you were so in the
I told
camp.
You know what happened? This stuff started happening, and you didn't call me. I was already on suicide watch. Okay, I already told you, man. I was on suicide watch that night.
But look at Trump now. Trump now is like, you go to CNN and they love him. Well, I wouldn't say they love him. They're not talking about they want it to deteriorate. They want the Trump-Putin relationship to get worse and worse. Which 2 weeks ago it was, oh my God, they're chummy, and Rex Tillerson's going over to Russia to make deals with Putin, and now it's like, oh, it's getting worse and worse. Trump is playing them like a fiddle, a fine-tuned fiddle.
Yeah, I'm hearing a lot of that intel as well. I mean, it's one half of the intel I'm getting is basically what you're saying. The other half is the other opposite. So I'm just sitting here in the middle. I don't know what to do. It's like I'm riding two horses at the same time.
That's all right. I mean, it's part like the alt media. Like a lot of my friends in the alt media, Jeff Berwick is like railing against Trump. Alex Jones railing against Trump. Everybody's railing against Trump.
Oh, did you listen to me and Gus Demas on Friday? It was the most hilarious show.
I did.
My God, it was so much funny. I want to start a new program, Cuss with Gus.
I love Gus. Gus,
we're going to start a new show, CJ. Cuss with Gus.
I'm writing it down right now.
Dude, we should approach him on that. 20 minutes every week and Cuss with Gus.
I was down in Acapulco at Jeff Berwick's conference, hanging out in a bar, drinking tequila with Gus and Will. We had so much fun. It was ridiculous. I mean, you could take Gus anywhere. He's like a party favor. You could just take along with you.
I do have one more question, V, and I'll try not to keep going. But so Bix, in terms of this, we might as well call it a theory, right? Because it hasn't played out completely. It hasn't played out yet. But what would be the advantages of not taking any particular action up front and going into it with the narrative? Because I don't see. In the event of economic collapse, I don't see the media giving the Donald a get out of jail free card. I really don't. I mean, that's to me, that's kind of a stretch. I mean, think about. They've been the narrative as far as who's responsible, for the collapse. Donald did nothing to fix healthcare. Donald did nothing to pass a budget. Donald did nothing to raise the debt ceiling. I mean, it's a significant risk that's out there. Why not? Why wouldn't it have been a perfect opportunity, Bix, that whenever this whole Syrian thing came about and the chemical weapons, why wouldn't it have been a perfect opportunity for Trump to share the truth? Why would it have been a perfect opportunity?
Still have people wouldn't believe him, first of all. Second of all,
but you stated that they're going to believe him after it crashes. So what changes?
They're not going to believe him. They're going to. Trump will say, "Here's how I
base would believe him. The establishment won't."
The establishment will be the ones that are implicated. So it's the media that will be implicated as well. So basically, what will happen is Trump. Nobody's going to believe him anything he said before or after this happened. But if it all gets released that here's the evidence out there, Trump says, I was fooled just like everybody else in the world. Then he has a better stance than he had before. Before it was them against us, Democrats against Republicans, conservatives against liberals. And now that line is melding together. Trump is like one of the people who have been fooled. I don't think he has been fooled, but the whole world standing up against bombing babies is the mantra. And there's a lot that is going to go on. Trump can't be blamed for the economic problem. He can't be blamed for health care. He's only been in office for, close to 100 days, right? So
80 days.
Yeah. And part of this plan, my theory, is to shift a lot of this blame over to the bad guys, over to the Obama administration, which is right now, they are the dog when it comes to how the U.S. has dealt with Syria. Trump is the hero. Obama was the dog because the good guys stopped Obama from bombing. He wanted to bomb for different reasons. His controllers wanted him to bomb. But the narrative has changed. The whole wiretapping, all part of the plan that Obama and Susan Rice and the whole senior administration of Obama was wiretapping, was giving information to Hillary Clinton. They have all the emails. Remember, all emails are saved at the NSA, and they listen to everything. They look at everything. They watch you even when your computer's not on. I mean, this is completely. What is being shown to the public and what is being done behind the scenes are two complete different worlds. So right now, the transition of Trump bad guy to Trump good guy is taking place. The Obama good guy to Obama bad guy is taking place. And all this is working kind of simultaneously at the same time. And no, Trump didn't get his health care fix put through because it wouldn't have fixed anything and he would have gotten the blame if it crashed. So when the Obamacare crashes, Obama will get the blame. When it's revealed that they were spying, Obama administration will get the blame. The Bushes will get a lot of blame for a lot of the things, the bad things that they did, and the Clintons will get a lot of blame. Remember, what's going to happen is a complete opening the kimono of what went on behind the scenes and why. I mean, the whole mantra for the last 100 years is we've got to protect the monetary system. The unbacked fiat monetary system has been around since 1971. It's the longest any unbacked system has lasted. Normally, an unbacked system will last 7 to 10 years, and that's it before it crashes because they print too much money, and then it goes back to gold. This has lasted, 45 years, 46 years, the longest ever in the history of the world. With all the monetary crashes that have happened, I think it's like 3,000 unbacked systems have failed. But the only reason this has not failed is because of the computer programs that Alan Greenspan implemented in the 70s to control the prices of everything. So if you can control the price of oil and gold and gas in the stock market, and you can print as much money as you want without worrying about inflation, and you rig the actual release an announcement of what is GDP, what is inflation. If you control those numbers as well, you can keep the game going. And that's exactly what the road to root of theory is all about. Keep the game going. 45 years for an unbacked system is unheard of ever in the history of monetary systems. And that's ending.
Yeah. I mean, yeah, go ahead. No,
I was going to say that if Russia can convince, because obviously they're painting the narrative in Syria. There's Nikki Haley that's in front of the UN saying that Bashar Assad's got to go. I mean, if Russia can convince that, okay, there is going to be a peaceful regime change in Syria, and then China can influence enough that, is it Kim Jong-un needs to go as well, I could definitely see this being played out. I mean, I definitely could come aligned with that thought that, okay, this has been very strategic. They have, but when you continue to see the narrative that they continue to paint Assad as a madman, as a butcher, you know, you saw Trump last night. So what are your thoughts on that, Bix? Is Assad going to flee, or how's that going to play out in Syria? Because there's a lot of different conflict on views of what's going to happen in Syria, and that's kind of to me, that's kind of like the pivoting moment that we could see something either de-escalate or escalate.
Well, I think that's a small part. In the bigger picture, it means nothing. But it is important for perception now. What to do with Assad? You know, who was it that decided he needs to go, and why? You know, from what I have heard, it's all about a pipeline going through Syria, and it's how this all kind of started. But I think when the monetary system crashes, there will be a whole new dynamic. And when the ISIL and ISIS and all that, the CIA controlled boogeyman, whatever you want to call it, is exposed for what it is and destroyed, which I do think that Trump and Putin will get together at some point down the line, not right now. Right now it's going to get worse and worse because you have to continue the con. But at some point down the line, they're going to say, okay, we'll take him out. All you have to do to take him out is go down to the CIA where they get all their funding and say, okay, we're going to end this game now and you guys are all under arrest. I mean, that's how you end ISIS. And the whole dynamic of you know, these jihadists and all that, it's all funded by the bad guys. And this is the bad guys' plan. It always was the bad guys' plan. So if you remove yourself from that, I think for Syria, they should have open elections. If Assad is voted and he is the winner of most of the votes in a free and fair election, which no country has ever had since electronic voting machines were invented. But hey, if he's who they want as their leader, he should be their leader. And same within the United States. If Trump is elected the leader of the United States, no other country should try to overthrow that decision. I mean, people have the right to run their own country as they wish, as long as they don't do anything bad to us. I think we've done a lot more bad things to Syria than they've done to us. And it all comes back to the pipeline going through Syria into Europe and Russia. That's why Russia's on Syria's side. Russia wants to provide the pipeline into Europe, and Europe is completely dependent upon outside oil and gas. So what will happen in the end? I don't know. I think definitely the escalation between U.S. and Russia will on the surface look like it's getting worse until the Trump investigations are over. And I think that's coming down the pike. But I don't see any war happening. I think behind the scenes, they're all working together to get from here to there. And here to there is from this position where we kind of feel like we're still controlled by the bad guys to a place after the monetary crash, after the bad guys' funds are taken away and destroyed, or they're all held in banks. So the banks go, everything goes.
Yeah.
And then this is the chaotic part that is going to be really difficult. Everybody tells me, "Oh, Bix, your theories are so pie in the sky, wishes and rainbows, easy and fun." I tell everybody that you're going to lose every penny they ever earned, and they said it's too rosy of a theory. I mean, it's just insane. But we have to go through this. It has to be done. We have to destroy all the unbacked fiat money, all the debt that was created.
Right. I mean, here's the points that I do touch base upon. I could definitely agree with you on. This monetary system has to go. The faster it crashes at this point, the better off it is. I mean, if the good guys are in charge, that means they're controlling the narrative, which means we're
the computer mean. You mean they're controlling the computer that can click a mouse and end the monetary system in a fraction of a second.
Absolutely. And then with right now the alt media and true voices that are emerging in the mainstream media are now controlling the narrative. This could be a transition that we could all stomach. A lot of us will lose a lot of things, but if those of us that are prepared are able to, in other words, what we're able to go through under Trump will be a lot easier and better than what we'd be going through if Hillary Clinton was in power. God help us.
Well, that was, both the good guys and the bad guys planned to destroy the system. the bad guys' plan was to destroy the system and turn us all into slaves and get rid of the majority of the human population.
Correct. Exactly.
The good guys' plan is to destroy the system and replace it with something new and get rid of all the debt. Because remember, the banks crash, you lose everything, you lose all your debt as well. And the big problem with humanity now is debt. When the debt goes away, the electronic debt goes away, that's going to be a great thing for humanity.
Absolutely, I agree with that. The other thing that I also agree with is the bad guys, or some of us would call them the bad guys, the cabal, the establishment, the Illuminists, the Luciferians, the Satanists, whatever you want to call them. These idiots will be definitely dealt with, and I believe they will be dealt with or without Trump, with or without the U.S. involvement. We got to see. Yeah, so one way or another, it's going to get dealt with. I'm hoping, and I'm still, like CJ and I said earlier this morning, it's like, yeah, we're still rooting for Trump. We want this guy to correct it. I think he's been given bad intel. I think.
But do you really think so? I mean, do you really think he didn't know? I mean, he had already tweeted back in 2013 when they pulled the same thing on Obama, and Obama wanted to go to.
Yeah.
Trump knows.
Well, again,
knew exactly what was going on.
You bring up a very valid point. Why on earth would this guy, who's sharp as a tack, all of a sudden do something so stupid?
He didn't. He's playing the world.
Yeah,
but they all are behind the scenes. The good guys are playing the world for very specific purposes, and it's working magnificently. If you ask me, everybody's getting on Trump's side, and now it's who's the bad guy? Assad. We'll call Assad the bad guy because you always have to have a bad guy. And Kim Jong-un is the bad guy. And
I mean, Kim's going to get removed. A month ago, now it's coming out in the news, right? But a month ago, CJ and I reported on the whole entire, North Korea ban. It's like almost 2 months ago. I reported that China is going to stop the importation of North Korean coal, and I said specifically that this is going to be a move for China to remove Kim Jong-un. Okay, this happened right after Kim Jong-un decided to, play 007 assassin and sent out lady assassins to go kill his half-brother in a Malaysian airport.
The other thing going on is North Korea is kind of the last stronghold of the Rothschilds and the Bush family. And North Korea was set up at the end of World War II. Basically, all the Japanese soldiers went from China that were in China, moved into North Korea. It was set up as a stronghold of these bad guys, of the Rothschilds, and they ran all kinds of nefarious banking things out of North Korea, and that's behind the scenes stuff. There's been a couple books written about that, but if you dig into that, you understand why. If there's going to be a war, it's going to be the U.S., the good guys within the U.S. taking out North Korea. But I don't think we'll have to.
Also, the fact of the matter is that North Korea is the last place through which the pipeline deal for the New Silk Road has to go through. And Kim Jong Kim Jong-un, let's just call him Sumdung Fool. Sumdung Fool was on board as up until last year, and so Sumdung Fool said, okay, yeah, I want the pipelines to go through North Korea, because the goal was to have the Russian and Chinese, the Sino-Russian pipeline going through China into North Korea, into South Korea, out through Busan, which is the southernmost port in South Korea, and into the Sea of Japan, and into Japan and out to Taiwan. That was the long, far-reaching goal to build it out. But they realized that Sumdung Fool is such a volatile and unreliable partner. It's going to be detrimental. So that's one of the things that they wanted to do to remove him. I had no idea this guy's a Rothschild plan. It's incredible.
Yeah. It goes back to the end of World War II. The Nazis went down to Antarctica, and the Japanese, who were kind of pro-Nazi, went into North Korea, and it was all set up by the Rothschilds and the Bush family. And there's evidence going back on that. But also, right now, North Korea is kind of squished between China and the U.S. military. They'd be pretty stupid to do anything against the will of the good guys right now.
Oh, man. It's interesting to say the least, man. Interesting to say the least. Let me ask you this, Bix. Apart from all this other stuff, we have about 8 minutes left, or 9 minutes left. What else is going on in the world of finance, man? Anything new on Bitcoin and gold? We see gold surging up to over 1275.
Yeah, gold, silver, and Bitcoin are ready to rock. They've had their pullbacks. They're all ready. silver especially. Silver, they're running out, and I'm doing some. I put out a video on the 2.75 billion ounces of silver that came into the market. Physical silver came into the market in the 1990s from the Manhattan Project Y12 facility, and it was melted down and sent back into the market, a lot of it. But that's a lot of silver to go through. But that was in 1995 was when the deconstruction of that facility ended. This is the silver that the U.S. Military borrowed from the U.S. Treasury to create the first atom bomb, and they needed literally 2.75 billion ounces of physical silver, which is pretty much all the silver that the U.S. had at the time. But it came out, and I'm doing some calculations now, and it's like we're coming right to the end of the physical silver availability, and you can see it also with J.P. Morgan's physical offtake. They've been taking about 100 million ounces of physical out of the system and holding it on their own. So they short the electronic markets to keep the price down, and they pull the physical silver off. And according to Ted Butler, they've got about 600 million ounces, which is 6 times the amount the Hunt brothers had. But I think that due to the fact that they aren't taking any more silver out of the Silver Eagle allocation, and JP Morgan used to be the largest taker of silver from the Silver Eagles over the past 6 years. And now if you look at the Silver Eagle sales, they've gone to almost nothing, about 1 million coins per month, which is they average, I think it's 5 to 8 million per month. But now it's just about 1 million. So they stopped taking it out of there, meaning that there is some supply issues with silver. So yeah, buy silver. Buy Bitcoin. Bitcoin's ready to rock again. It got over its little issue with the forking, and it hasn't been resolved. But people are kind of forgetting about that, and they're looking at the monetary system, saying this is about to blow at any second. I better get some Bitcoin while I still can.
Absolutely.
So that's the short. And the big thing going on right now in my world is that it's still raining. It's been raining for a couple days, and it looks like another.
Dude, are you going to build an
days.
ark? I mean, what's going on? I'm getting worried there, man.
There's 3 houses, kind of over a valley, about a mile from my house, past the valley and up the Oakland Hills. 3 houses have already slid down the hill, and they've
Are you kidding me?
It is ugly, and all this weather going through San Francisco Bay up past Oakland goes right to Oroville Dam and the Sierra Mountains above it. So Oroville Dam is not even an accident waiting to happen. Oroville Dam is an accident that's going to happen. And the question is, what day and how bad will it be for the crops of California, thus 90% of the crops from the United States. So it's going to get ugly. Get your greenhouse, start growing your own food, do sprouts inside your own house, which is really easy to do. You can order sprouts online. It takes 3 days to grow sprouts, and then you'll have at least some green veggies to go with your dried food.
Jeez.
I think the most exciting
or you could
thing
be like
is,
me. You could buy like a 6-month supply of pork rinds.
Oh, yeah, exactly. Those, see, that would only last you probably a month. The way you go through those.
And then they'll find your dead body from
But it'll be well preserved. Your body will be well preserved
with all that salt.
Exactly. So we're not going to get any. We're not going to get any funds for this interview because they have demonetized me every time I put anything up on my. Trump's
well, you can't use
plan.
the word. You can't use the word terrorism. You can't use the word attack, explosion.
We got to title it "Wishes and Rainbows" again.
Yeah, just title it "My Talk with the Fuzzy Ape."
Yeah, the cuddly fuzzy ape.
The cuddly fuzzy ape. Title like that. Then they won't. Then they won't bother you, man. Just don't use the word attack. Terrorism, explosions, and none of that stuff.
Not Syria, not secret plan, not.
Nope, no secret plan.
I'm so tired of YouTube.
You can say Trump's. You can say Trump's a traitor or Hillary Clinton's the greatest, and then everything will be fine. So I love Hillary on it. You'll probably get 10 million hits.
They'll
probably give you a bonus of $3,000.
Yeah,
just for saying that.
Exactly. I heart Google is the name of this.
That's it.
This podcast. I heart Google.
That's it. I heart Google. That's it. And then they won't bother you.
Exactly.
You know, I mean, they have no idea what the horn disease is, so that keeps them under the.
I think they know now. They banned one of those.
They did.
Yeah.
What were you talking about? What was in the description?
I was talking about Syria and Trump. So they just ban anything with Syria and Trump in it that I write or talk about. I don't know. What do you do?
That's it. You got to just use code instead of Syria. You have to say hot sauce.
Oh, dude, don't even say pizza.
No, don't even say that. We have to call it flatbread with tomatoes and
flatbread. The flatbread conspiracy. There you go.
The flatbread conspiracy. You know, that's what you got to say. You got look. Cliff gave us the heads up on this, so we should be changing our lingo and we should start using code words.
I know,
yeah?
It's exhausting. It's exhausting keeping ahead of the criminals. But hey, just keep doing it.
Yeah, we could do that, or we could all learn how to speak Klingon.
Nanu.
Yeah, exactly. Bix, man, give out your info. How can people follow you? How can they subscribe? What can they do, Sal?
Subscribe to the Road to Ruta YouTube channel. That's what I'm doing most of my work. I don't write all that much anymore. But also there's roadtoruta.com. You put your email in there and you get a free book. And it's called Silver, Gold, Bitcoin, and God. All of the stuff that you love to talk about. So go to roadtoruta.com, put your email in, and you get a book. And then we're going to keep doing what we're doing no matter what happens. And we're going to keep doing this on Wednesdays. People love it.
Absolutely. And also, are you still giving out free Bitcoin?
Theoretically, it's $30 in free Bitcoin if you buy a annual subscription of $299. So it's not free. It's kind of like a $30 rebate, but it's hard copy Bitcoin that gets mailed right to your house. So if you don't have Bitcoin, awesome. This is a great way to get it.
And you get all the information from the Road to Ruta, the pathfinder on the Road to Ruta himself, the man who has pioneered the most revolutionary theory in finance, Bix Weir.
I'll take that.
Yeah, there you go. I mean, dude, it's the most unique theory I've ever heard in my life. And when I looked into it, I was like, holy crap, my jaw hit the floor. So
it didn't come from me. It came from the Fed Boston.
I know, but you're the only one that caught it.
Yeah, true.
Yeah, so you got to give credit where credit's due, bro.
Thank you, dear.
On that take, let's talk about the Dodge Demon. What do you think about 840 horsepower and 0 to 60 in 2.3 seconds?
I think you, as the motorhead, go for it. You're the man when it comes to the cars. You're going to need it in the apocalypse.
At least I could outrun an Apache gunship and possibly even a Hellfire missile in that car.
I say go for it. Do it. Buy it. Quit talking about it.
That's fine. And when you come to New York, I'll take you for a ride.
All right. I'm there.
Just bring a crash helmet.
Yeah. I wouldn't drive with you if it paid me. I'll take an Uber and meet you somewhere.
That's it. I told Harley, hey, Harley, if I come to Germany, let's go on the Nürburgring together. He goes, yeah, you go ahead. I'll just watch from the side.
Exactly.
Good deal. And with that being said, folks, again, tune in next week. We're going to have more explosive information coming out because I'm sure this thing is just going to keep rocking and rolling until then. Tensions will mount. Markets will go up and down. Things will be chaotic. And the man who is the Pathfinder on the Road to Ruta will guide us all through it. With that being said, this is V and Bix. And in the background, the main man who is the master of the flux capacitor, making sure this broadcast comes out swimmingly, is none other than CJ. We'll all be back next week. Keep it tuned, keep it locked, subscribe, share, and like. We're out. Take it away, CJ.